Well, you found it, the What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast, hosted by Mark Duvel and John Hansen. A new episode is about to start. There's still time to find something else to do for the next hour. You've been warned.
Welcome to What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast with hosts Mark Duvel and John Hansen.
Are you kidding me?
Two old friends and knuckleheads discussing and covering their top 4 choices for any and all topics, making up their Mount Rushmore selections each week. Nothing is off limits. As you listen, remember, we always want to know, what's your Mount Rushmore?
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Hey folks, thanks for coming back. Once again, another great episode we have for you here. It's the What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast, where we ask that question of you, the listener, and of our guests. I am one of the hosts, John Hansen.
I'm the other ding-a-ling, and my name's Mark Duvel. And on today's episode, we are covering our Mount Rushmore picks for Metallica songs. One of the hardest rockin' bands Mother Earth has ever seen, let's be honest. And to cover such an epic band and a topic, we had to find the right dude to join us for this one. And we took that responsibility very serious. So we booked a rock radio icon, damn it.
Wow.
A dude we genuinely admire because of his authenticity to his work, his voice, his overall rock star vibe. Truly one of my favorite radio personalities in the country. The one and only long-haired, Harley-riding, tattooed social outcast, the Dirtbag Dujour himself, Mr. Remy Maxwell.
Wow. Now there's an intro, man. Jeez, I don't know what to say. Thank you for that. It's really cool. Hot damn. I almost feel important.
You really are the man, dude.
No, I appreciate you saying that, man. I just been lucky enough to been acting a fool on the radio and cranking, my favorite music since I'm 17 years old. I started in New Orleans, my hometown, and I just kind of fell into it and then just took the ball and ran with it. You know what I mean?
And and I really do mean that. John and I have a radio background, and it was more on the marketing side of things, but we certainly know our share of radio personalities. We've worked with them, we're friends with them, but I really do mean that. What makes you so unique is I believe you're truly authentic to your craft.
Well, thank you.
And you treat it like an art form that I believe it should be.
I agree with you in that respect as well. I mean, I try to be, as far as playing music on the radio, and I want to be part of the song. I don't want to be, above it. I don't want to be some asshole that says, hey, look at me. This is what I think, because no one really cares. But if I'm going to do this job, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have fun with it. And I am going to be part of every song that I'm playing instead of being buried in it or being overbearing on it. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it.
I think it falls under that authenticity category, that like file cabinet of it doesn't matter where you are. If you're at, the old days, I know currently you're obviously on Jack FM.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear you on the radio, you become part of the presentation of what you're about to hear.
Well, dude, you nailed it. That's exactly what I'm shooting for. So that really means a lot that you say that. Thank you.
You're truly a gifted dude. So we're honored to have you join us.
Much appreciated. I'm also I do a national show in about 6 other markets too around the country, in addition to being live on Jack every afternoon. So yeah, I'm in my hometown of New Orleans. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, Rochester, New York. I'm in Sacramento. I'm in Portland.
You're so smooth in your delivery and everything. Like Mark says, we both know that, when people are doing their breaks, even if you're doing commercials or recording promos, it's obviously a lot of it is scripted and you're reading prompts and you're doing all that stuff. But to you, it sounds so natural. It just sounds like you're having a conversation.
Right on. Best compliments ever. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And according to my clock, Remy, we have 90 more seconds of smooching your ass, and then we'll get going.
Let's go. I'm ready to go, man.
Nice.
No, for real. I can't wait to hear what you came up with. I can't wait to discuss Metallica songs, because I really do mean that. I know you're a huge Kiss guy.
Yeah.
Man, Metallica is just different. They're special. And they are one of the hardest rocking bands, like I said, I think Mother Earth has ever seen.
You're right.
So,
a lot of people take Metallica for granted, I think, because they're the biggest metal band on the planet. They've been around forever. But every time I would see the band live, after not seeing them for a year, 2 years, whatever, it just reinforces your belief in just how badass they actually are live. And, obviously on record as well. So my Metallica memories go back to... First album I ever heard from them was Master of Puppets. And then I went back and got Ride the Lightning after. So this is July of 86. My first Mount Rushmore Metallica song is Damage Incorporated.
Nice.
And it has to be because I was lucky enough, we cut class that day in New Orleans, went to UNO Lakefront Arena, July of 86 that summer, to see the Master of Puppets tour on the Ultimate Sin tour. They were opening for Ozzy. And I'm on the barricade, front row, and Cliff, God rest his soul, is still alive for another 2 months at that point.
Wow.
And front row took in the whole show, and that song, I mean, the first time I heard it, damaged apple drinking drive through you. Every lyric in that song, man, is just blows you through the wall. And do you guys like that one too?
Love.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. That's the cool thing about this specific episode, this topic. There are no bullshit answers.
Yeah.
No one's going to say a song where we all look at it. Well, I shouldn't speak too soon. But I don't think there's a bad pick. Their music catalog is so outrageously well done that there is nothing bad to choose from.
And like we were saying earlier, if you're a hardcore fan of the band, it's impossible to pick, a Mount Rushmore of 4 songs. It's just ridiculous because my tastes, I love something from every album, and even Load and Reload, and those where they got kind of lost in the mid 90s. But as far as everybody talks about the Black Album, they sold out. No, they like what Jason Newsted says in that Behind the Music. Yeah, we sell out every seat in the house every night,
Yeah, exactly.
We don't give a shit!
I didn't pick any songs off of the Black Album or Load or Reload, but,
I think that's an awesome pick, and I'm jealous that you got to see Cliff Burton.
Dude, that
shit.
show was unfucking believable. I mean, and Metallica, needless to say, even as huge of an Ozzy and Jake E. Lee fan I was at the time, they blew Ozzy off the stage. They were that good, It's like something that you hadn't seen yet in an arena. That was their first arena tour.
One of the things that's always fascinated me about Metallica as it relates to their lyrics is how heavy the topics are that they write about. And yet they were so young writing about these things.
Yeah.
And again, I think you said it earlier, they are truly taken for granted for that reason.
True. Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up, the heaviness, the nature of the lyrics, because my next song is Dyer's Eve, talking about end of 2 albums back to back. Master of Puppets, of course, Damage Inc. Dyer's Eve finishes off Justice, and what James is talking about in that one. I mean, he grew up with Christian Scientists as parents who did not believe in medical attention and the doctor, and those lyrics just give you a peek into what the hell that guy was living through at that age as a young guy, Dear mother, dear father,
Dear mother, dear father, every thought I think you disapprove, you're a dictator. Always censoring my every move, children of see that are not heard. Tear out everything inspired.
He's a tormented soul.
Yeah, he really is.
No doubt.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, John, why don't you get one on the board, bud? What do you got? What are you coming out of the gate with?
Well, I'm going to stay with Master of Puppets, but I'm going to go with the title track on the album, the song Master of Puppets. So that's my first pick.
We got a match there, buddy. That's the first one on my list. Okay. It just is.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned, Mark, that some of the songs might come across as being a little cliche, and some people might think of this one as a cliche. It's not a deep album track. Obviously, it's the one you hear the most on that album.
Yeah, the title track.
There's no way that song is cliche whatsoever. That is an ass kicker front to back. I mean, it's still, anytime it comes on, I'm playing it. I'm blowing speakers, It's loud. I mean, from Battery right into Master, it's like 1-2 punch to the skull, man. Yeah, Master of Puppets holds up, definitely.
Oh my God, yes.
There's a radio question for you, Remy.
Okay.
When you're doing a radio show, are you one of these? I have to assume. Do you blare your monitors?
Oh, hell yeah. Yes.
You have to, right?
If I'm playing, there's a couple songs on Jack that I am not blaring my monitors on.
Right.
But
right.
yeah. But yeah, man, it's been max volume for me since day one. I used to be on KLOS and KNAC in LA, which I'll get to. Another couple of my songs have connections to those two stations. But yeah, we had the most amazing in-studio monitors, and they were cranked the whole time. Yeah. I'm missing hearing to this day because of that.
Right. I'm sure.
So Johnny, going back to Master of Puppets, I mean, it's the last album that did feature Cliff before he tragically died in the bus tour accident. But this is a song, again, going back to them writing these lyrics about how drugs can take control of your life and how they tie that into the artistry of a great kick-ass, badass metal song. Come on.
It's amazing. It really is.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because drugs are the puppet master. Obviously, they knew people who had been struggling with these drugs and these addictions themselves, and so they were writing from probably personal experience. And you mentioned Cliff Burton's genius. He actually came up the sort of mid-song harmonic section where the tempo changes and slows down, and that whole thing was basically a Cliff Burton design because he had a real classical music background.
He did, yes.
It makes you wonder what more he could have brought in future albums if he had still been with them. Not that they needed help. They wrote some pretty amazing stuff after that, but it's just that element that they missed out on, unfortunately.
You're right. I mean, that whole music theory background is what Cliff brought to the band because he knew a lot of the musical things that, James and Lars and Kurt did not at all.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. A different background, a different appreciation of music. And in some ways it's kind of like Randy Rhoads was sort of like that too. He had a different appreciation of music and the classical music appreciation for what he brought to the Aussies. Not to get off track there, but
oh hell yeah, yeah.
And this song, by the way, has been played more than 1,800 times live. It's a staple, obviously. So they know the song pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say so. And that album, Master of Puppets, just certified 8 million copies, almost diamond sold.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I remember reading this because the Black Album just went double diamond. First metal band to ever have 20 million copies of one album sell, and at the same time, 8 mil was certified for master. So it's impressive to say the least.
Can you imagine Master of Puppets is less than a year away from being 40 years old?
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't realize that. Yes. God damn.
That is freaky.
That is freaky. Jesus.
Jeez. Well, and like so many Metallica songs and just the band in general, the experience of seeing Master of Puppets live with 50, 60, 70,000 people chanting Master.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Right. That is powerful shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just raises your arm hair. It's an adrenaline rush from start to finish.
Agreed. And I'll take what you just said and take it to creeping death. You want to feel some energy in a crowd, that whole die, because that's my next song on my Mount Rushmore of Metallica songs.
Mine too.
Really?
I have Creeping Death. 100% I have Creeping Death.
Right on, dude.
Nice.
Okay, I have a reason behind. I love the song, obviously, and have seen the crowd go apeshit for that one during the chorus multiple times. But here's a story. I was, in my former life, I was a recording engineer. I was living in LA, and I was bouncing around studios, and I got to work with a bunch of different artists. My roommate and the other guitar player in my band at the time, this is 1990, this is mid-1990, was working at One-on-One Studios in North Hollywood. And Metallica had just rolled in to set up shop to do the Black Album. So he's telling me all these stories. Yeah, James, you got to see his guitars, and he's got and Lars. It's taken him a week and a half to set up Lars's drums and get sounds and everything. So just so happens that during Thanksgiving of that year, the band go up to San Francisco, be with their family, and he's like, dude, all of the masters of the former albums are in the studio so they can A/B and see what these albums sound like up against the sounds that we're trying to get for the Black Album. We should go in and remix a Metallica song. Because the 24-track masters are there for Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master, and I'm like, yes, let's do that. So we go in, dude. We go in at like 1, 2 in the morning, and put up, and of course we're freaking out holding this because we cannot fuck this up or we're dead, So we put the 24 track Master of Creeping Death up on the machine, and we start putting up faders, and first thing we notice is Lars's kick is way inconsistent. His kick drum it sounds great on the record when it's mastered and everything, but we're having to throw all these effects on. So we want to do our own mix. We end up we're there for like an hour and a half, and we had Creeping Death we had the Ride the Lightning CD with us. So after we get our mix up, we listen back to him like, damn, that sounds really good. But it sounds so we A-B'd it with the record because we want to be able to play this for all of our friends and go, this is our mix of Creeping Death.
Right.
And we put the record on and it's too close. I'm like, we can't be that good, but it was really close. So we went back in and changed Lars's or Kirk's solo at the end where the end solo, that, and then we pitch changed all the dies to have like Satan doing the dies in the chorus, just so we could change our mix from their mix. And then we're like, okay, that's our mix. And I have been looking for that. I have it on DAT, but I don't have it a DAT machine anymore. But I've been looking for my cassette and my CD of that mix to play forever, and I cannot find it because I've moved around the country a few times. But that was that song will always stick in my heart as one of my faves, just specifically for that. And we did not screw the tape up, by the way. We did not. We didn't get fired.
Yeah. You would have heard from their lawyers.
You held the original masters in your hand.
Yes.
I mean, the actual originals.
Yes. We made sure not to be anywhere near the red record button while we were doing our mix,
or any magnets.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yes. How about your Creeping Death? Why is it one of yours?
Mine, one, I love the album Ride the Lightning. So it's a great record, just start to finish, obviously. This goes back to, I like the origin of it. It came from, again, Cliff Burton coined the phrase Creeping Death. And it was because as a band, they were somehow, I don't know what the situation was specifically, but they were watching the movie The 10 Commandments.
Really?
And Cliff Burton coined that phrase, Creeping Death, when he realized they're referring to the plague that killed all these Egyptians. And he goes, it's like creeping death.
Wow.
And then, like James and Lars, they go, Creeping Death.
Yeah, write that down. That's a song title. Wow.
And that is the inspiration behind, again, the lyrically driven brilliance of Metallica came from the movie 10 Commandments and Cliff Burton on that specific song.
I never knew that. Never knew that.
I just taught Remy Maxwell something about a Metallica song.
You did.
Score one for the good guys.
That's a great story,
cool.
Man. I mean, you get your lyrical inspiration from everywhere if you're tuned in to the universe and you know what you're listening for. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I love that it's so simple, but yet it turned into such a complex song that's incredible.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
John, do you have Creeping Death?
I do not have Creeping Death. I do actually have a song that's on Ride the Lightning, and I have a song that was recorded during the Ride the Lightning sessions, but didn't make the album. And I'll jump into that one first. The one that was recorded for that during those sessions during that same year, the same time they're in the studio. It just didn't make the album. It's a cover song. It's Am I Evil?
Oh, Budgie. It's not Budgie, is it? I'm thinking
Diamond
of Red
Head.
Fan. Okay, yes, Diamond Head.
This is probably, honestly, it might actually be my favorite Metallica song, and yet it's a cover song. I just love their version. It was recorded in 1984. I don't really know why it didn't make the Ride the Lightning album. It actually was used as a B-side though for Creeping Death, which is interesting.
Yeah,
it's a very faithful cover. If you know the original version, it's obviously a much heavier, grittier, darker version because it's fucking Metallica, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It does follow the original pretty closely, and they were massive fans of Diamond Head, and that whole, there's a term that they called it the new wave of British heavy metal.
Yes.
And Metallica was heavily influenced, especially Lars, by that movement.
Oh, yeah.
And it involved bands like Diamond Head, the early Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, bands like that. And that's kind of what they were into. The guys in Diamond Head have thanked Metallica.
Yes. Yeah, Brian Tatler's been in the news recently talking about what an amazing thing that was for them to cover that song because it paid for a lot of things for Brian and the band. Yes.
Yeah, because they at that point in time they weren't necessarily selling out arenas themselves, and their career had kind of faded a bit. But now, even now, years and years later, that song still pops up, it still gets airplay, and obviously a piece of those royalties are making it back to Brian Tatler and the Diamond Head guys.
Yeah.
So they're very appreciative, I'm sure. Metallica's my wife's favorite band.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and she appreciates most of the pre-Black Album stuff, so she loves the earlier stuff. This might be one of her favorites as well. So I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they did the big four of thrash metal got together.
I was about to talk about that because they all did that song together.
They did
at the end in the encore. Yeah,
it was so cool. Yeah, so if anybody who's a fan of Metallica or any of those bands, Slayer, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, they all got on stage and did Am I Evil, and it's a very cool version.
Yeah.
But that's the one that didn't make Ride the Lightning. I do have another one. I'll save it for a little bit later that actually is on the album.
So I had Am I Evil on a cassette. I forgot the label that put it out, but Blitzkrieg was on it, which is another one of my favorite songs.
Great
song. And I forgot there was a couple other songs that were covers, but yeah, that was my first got turned on to Am I Evil that way on this little shitty cassette that I had.
Well, I feel like I want to crowbar in one more pick just to ride the coattails of the Ride the Lightning record. So this will be, and then we'll get, because I think you have 3, Remy, right? You have 3 on the board?
I have 3 so far, yeah.
No,
and my 4th is from Ride the Lightning, yes.
Okay, so I have a feeling there might be a match here, but we'll see.
Okay.
So mine it's For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Okay, not a match with me.
Me either.
And the song was inspired by a 1940 novel by Ernest Hemingway titled For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Right.
And again, it's about the process of death in modern warfare from the bloody Spanish War.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And that's why I've always been so just drawn to Metallica, that how the hell did these young, drunk rocker fuckers
exactly
early 20s, they're writing stuff off a Ernest Hemingway novel?
Wow, it's mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, Jesus.
They're smarter than people give them credit for. And maybe that falls under what you were saying earlier too, is they're brilliant artists. They just are.
Agreed.
That's a song too. Again, seeing it live, you just
now when you bring that up, I remember seeing video, I think it was probably on MTV when I was a kid, of For Whom the Bell Tolls, A Day at the Green. Remember that? Where the camera's right on Cliff and it's daylight outside and he's just thrashing. He's got his blue jean outfit from head to toe and the hair's flying. And I was like, oh, that is what made me love that song. Just watching that Day at the Green performance, Day on the Green, you know?
It's just a killer. I mean, it's just, again, this is so hard.
It was hard
for Metallica songs.
It is. It really is.
You feel like it just feels gross doing it, but we're celebrating the band. I mean, we wouldn't have picked them unless this was hard. So
that was one of the first guitar parts because I've been playing guitar since I'm a kid, and that was one of the first guitar parts of Kirk. That I learned, and I'd play it over and over again. We played a bunch of Metallica songs in my teenage band in Louisiana, and then
not easy.
No, yeah, I mean we learned them all, through those records almost. But
yeah, musically, lyrically, they just encapsulate badass.
Oh yeah,
they do. They are
definitely.
Yeah. So how many do you have on the mountain, Mark?
3.
Okay, I have 2. So should I put my 3rd up there?
Yep.
This is perfect because I'll get my other Ride the Lightning one in there. This is Fade to Black.
That's the one we share right there.
Okay, there we go. Awesome. I mean, I love this song. I love the tempo changes. When this song came out, some of their fans were like, "What the hell is this?"
Yes.
It's ballady, for lack of a better term, and some of their fans kind of didn't dig that, because they were a thrash metal band. But, people came around to it. It became one of their staples that they play live. It's lyrically very advanced, very dark. Again, 1984, they're recording these songs. Yeah. It's just mind-blowing. I'm glad that we match on that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's to this day when I pick up a guitar, be it an acoustic or anything, I will play that song. One of the first things that I'll end up picking. And if I'm playing electric, I'll play the intro solo to that, an amazing composition. I have a reason that this song made my Mount Rushmore, and it's because I was on a station in LA called KNAC. It was the first heavy metal station on the planet. First station to play Metallica, first station to play Guns N' Roses. All of the whole Sunset Strip scene came from that radio station. And I grew up looking, through my Rip magazines, my Circus magazines, and I'd see KNAC shirts on all my favorite bands. They're wearing this station's shirt. I'm like, I gotta work there one day. And amazingly, I ended up on the air at KNAC.
Wow.
So the station signed on in 86. Our last day was February 15, 1995. We got bought by Spanish broadcasters, and it was all a money decision. So me and another guy, Long Paul, ended up jumping ship to KLOS before the station signed off that February of 95. But we went back for the last day because it was going to be a huge celebration. And James and Lars showed their love and respect for that radio station by coming and spending the last day with us, signing off the radio station.
Wow.
And so, to have them there for that heavy day, it was like a death in the family. It really was, because that station was more than a radio. It was a lifestyle for Southern California, and people lived and died with that station. And we would do KNAC nights all over LA and Orange County, and you just couldn't move in these clubs. And Ron McGovney actually used to come out to one of my gigs in Long Beach, a place called Cantina Tiburon, and he would just chew my ear off about the early days of Metallica. And so at 2 p.m. that day, 30 years ago, the 30-year anniversary just came and went. Fade to Black was our last song that we played. I'm sitting in my studio now, and I got goosebumps right now. I don't know if you can see that, but but it brings me right back because people are crying. Lars had his head in his hands. James, of course, very stoic. He's like, "What's everybody crying for? Come on," Right. But yeah, man, to have them there for that day to sign off that just historic radio station, and to have that song as the last song that was played was just mind blowing. And anytime powerful, yes. And anytime I hear that outro solo now, it takes me right back. I mean, I could cry right now just thinking about it. And I'm not bullshitting you,
Yeah. So that outro solo is literally the last thing that they played. Because which by the way, another little stamp on that is that Kirk Hammett has said that's one of his all-time favorite solos that he's ever played.
Really?
In fact, he did it in just a couple of takes. It was almost all improvised, and he did it in just a couple of takes in one day. That's the outro solo.
I didn't know that either. Man, that is killer. That is amazing.
That is such a good pick, and I feel like such a scumbag for not having Fade to Black on my Mount Rushmore. But again, there's 4 spots on the mountain.
No,
man.
I know. That's too tough of a decision. It really is.
And I just didn't want to have 3 from Ride the Lightning, because then it'd be like, okay, what there are other albums.
Yes. Right, there are a lot of them.
Should we do your 4th and then my 4th then, Mark? Or
yeah, I'll get mine out of the way, because here's my cliche one.
Okay.
And damn it, I'm going to lean into it. I own it. I'm embracing it. It's Enter Sandman. And here's why. Black Album obviously came out in 91. So in 91, I graduated high school in 95. So I'm 48 years old now. And up to that point, I wasn't that big of a Metallica guy. In fact, I knew really not all that much about them, because I was into Kiss. Okay. I was into, shit like Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, the whole glam scene. That scene was kind of what owned rock, Firehouse.
Right. Yes.
Just that old.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Why I'm picking Enter Sandman is this. Everyone that's older than us, and I mean, they were like somewhat of an adult, or at least could remember things going back to 1963. Everyone has that. Where were you when JFK was shot?
Right.
And then our generation comes along as, where were you when you heard about 9/11?
Yes.
You know, because everyone vividly remembers it.
Of course.
I can remember the first time I heard Enter Sandman, and it just stopped me in my fucking tracks.
Wow, really?
Whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
Play it again.
Yeah.
And it's one of those songs where I swear to God, me and a buddy, we were just shooting hoops on his driveway at his house. And he goes, "Oh, you got to check out this tape my older brother has from a band Metallica." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard of them. Aren't they like heavy?" And he goes, "Just wait till you hear this shit." And he puts on Enter Sandman. And I swear to God, we must have listened to it 20, 30 times in a row. Because I'm like, start it over. What is this?
Really? Wow.
Sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight. Exit light into night. Take my hand, off to never, never land.
You referenced this about Master of Puppets. That was kind of my introduction to Metallica, was through Enter Sandman. So then I backpedaled and went, "Oh my God, and Justice for All.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Master of Puppets, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning."
Yes.
And then I've forever have been just hooked on their music ever since.
That was your entry point. Yeah, we've all got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. It's the most overplayed Metallica song, hands down.
Sure.
But I also love that it's somehow infiltrated sports.
Yeah.
Athletes like Mariano Rivera with the Yankees. His nickname was Sandman.
Yeah.
He's the best closer in baseball's history. And that was part of the ritual of bringing him in out of the bullpen, was blasting Metallica.
Yes.
So for me, yes, it is. I have to admit it, because I'm just being real with the process. And it's because of my age.
Right.
The Black album got me into Metallica, and then it changed my life as how I viewed hard rock music, because it made me realize the bubblegum shit was cool.
Yeah.
But now it's time to listen to some big boy metal, and they were the band that did that for me.
And the fact that song makes it into the encore of every Metallica show played on planet Earth every night. I mean, it's got the standing power, because it is one of the greatest songs of all time, of any genre.
From a mainstream standpoint, it's become their signature song. I think metalheads and Metallica fans might say something like Master of Puppets might be almost more of a signature, but I think from a mainstream standpoint, it's most certainly their signature song. So cliche or not, it's a great song. So.
And I know I'm not standing alone.
No, you're right.
Oh, no.
Like, Metallica's Black Album reached exactly me. Who? So the middle 40 to 55-year-old dudes, if you weren't into Metallica before the Black Album, I can guarantee you probably were after.
You are now.
Hell yeah.
My entry point to Metallica, my last song is not from this album, but my entry point was the Justice for All with the song One. I mean, that's not my pick, but that's where I kind of first found them, and then the video and how that, and then, so I was already into Metallica. I was a couple years older than Mark, so that's probably that difference that, I found him just those few years earlier. But my last pick is actually older than anything else that you guys have mentioned, older than anything else I've mentioned. It goes all the way back to Kill 'Em All album, and it's Seek and Destroy.
All right.
To me, this song is like the quintessential guitar song. It's almost like a free bird for heavy metal. You know what I mean?
I like that analogy. Yes.
Yeah, they're so layered. There's so much going on, and it just blows me away. This was recorded in 1983. You talk about them being young when they were writing Master of Puppets. Shit, this is 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
When they were recording this album, they were a bunch of truly broke kids.
Yeah.
They didn't have any money. They were sleeping at the studio as they were recording this album. And we talked a lot about Ride the Lightning. There was a big, massive jump in production value to that record, because all of a sudden they had a couple of bucks to spend. Their studio time was a little bit more valuable, and they had probably better producers and better equipment. Mm-hmm. Taking all that into consideration, Seek and Destroy sounds so polished to me. I mean, they are just masters.
Yeah.
You could probably speak to this more from a musician standpoint. It just seems like when they went in there to record that, they were not a bar band. I mean, they were
you're right,
a band that was already ready to take over the world.
Yep.
I don't know. It blows me away every time I hear it. And then when I think that song, is now 42 some years old now. So I don't know. I love it. It's a cool song. Outside of Master of Puppets and Creeping Death, it's been played more often live than any other of their songs. So it's their third most played song in concerts. Obviously, again, a staple.
And it always ends up in the encore, like Enter Sandman. Those two songs are always the last two songs pretty much played, it seems,
Right.
Seek and Destroy and Enter.
I love the fact that they were that young and that green, I guess you could say. They didn't really understand the concept of getting into a studio and doing stuff, but yet they went and laid that down. It was the first solo that Kirk Hammett ever recorded. Touching on their early days, there's a really cool documentary. I don't know if Remy, if you've ever heard of this or seen it. It's called Murder in the Front Row.
I don't think I have, no.
Oh, you would appreciate it, especially with your LA connection, because it's about the thrash metal scene in the Bay Area specifically in the early 80s. It talks about all these bands that were competing with each other and then how much they hated the LA scene. I mean, they truly were like, they hated everything going on in LA.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's why Cliff didn't want to move to LA. That's why Cliff said, no, you're coming up here if you want me to join your band. I'm not moving to LA.
Right. Yeah, because Metallica was originally an LA band.
Yeah.
But their fans and everything, they went north and that's where they got their foothold in the Bay Area. But it's you should check that documentary out. I think you'd love it. I
am a huge rock doc fan. I've seen everything under the sun, especially all the Metallica and the Day in the Life and all of that stuff. I've heard of that, but I forgot about it. I've got to see that.
It's got a lot of stuff with Cliff Burton and how his influence. And of course, it doesn't cover just Metallica. It's the whole scene. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun.
Right. Cool.
When you brought up Seek and Destroy, the very first image that comes into my head was two things. One, that live is phenomenal, but it brought me back to the mid 90s when Metallica released that multi-disc box set called Binge and Purge. And it came with two VHS tapes.
I've got them.
Of a live show from like Mexico City.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you see Seek and Destroy on that tape live, it's like, I want to go. I'm not a fighter, but you want to go like box somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That is one of those, like, if you know you're going to go into a situation where the shit might go down, play Seek and Destroy.
There you go. Your soundtrack right there. Just the energy that exudes from that performance that you're talking about. Because I have that on VHS too. And yeah, man, that's heavy. You were talking about the studio version earlier, John, and it's like, it's so cohesive and so perfect for a young band that sounds, because I worked a lot in studios and stuff, and to capture a performance like that, especially from young upstarts, because every note is perfectly, there's no screw ups. It still moves. Yeah. It's got attitude, but the and it's a long song. To be able to pull that off, it's impressive.
Do you think now, with your studio background, do you think a band like that, again, a young band without a lot of money going in there, do you think that they had to record a lot of that live, or do you think they were putting down a lot of different tracks? I mean,
I think they were recording it live. Yeah, wow. I think a lot of that was done live. I mean, Flemming Rasmussen, one of the earlier engineer producers, I think had a big hand in shaping the sound of how those dudes were captured on tape. Wow. And he doesn't get the credit that he should, I think, because, that's right. That sound, nobody sounded like that. And I think Flemming had a lot to do with that. I really do.
So amazing. Yeah.
That's killer.
Okay, I know our Mount Rushmore has all been taken up, but I've got a couple honorable mentions, maybe a couple statues outside the bathroom at the gift shop at the Mount Rushmore. Okay?
Perfect.
Well said.
And we were talking about ends of albums like Damage Inc. and Dyer's Leave. Those were my two first. How about a bookend off Death Magnetic 2008? That was Just Your Life, and then My Apocalypse at the end. Those two songs, to me, that record, and Rick Rubin is to be held accountable for the sound of that album. It is it's like one of the loudest albums recorded to tape. I love it. A lot of people gave it shit and said it was just distorted, but I think that album sounds amazing. And to set the tone of that thing, because that record went back to the master days. That's what Rick said. Go back to where you were at mentally, musically, and try to recapture that. And I think they did that perfectly on that song, and especially the last one, My Apocalypse, which is just fucking full bore, ram your head against the wall. And I think I love My Apocalypse because I remember I did a couple sessions at Sound City, the famed studio in the Valley that Dave Grohl did his I mean, countless albums came out of there. Fleetwood Mac, Dio,
yeah, there's a rock doc there, right? With the Dave Grohl's
that's a
rock
great
doc,
movie. Yeah. I worked with Blind Melon on the demo that got them signed at Sound City, and Shannon was just I loved that guy. Shannon was the best. But I got to work in that studio where I remember seeing, and I had forgotten that some of the sessions went down at Sound City for Death Magnetic. There's a video on YouTube of Kirk playing the solo in that carpeted control room that I used to hang out in, and the solo is captured on tape, on video, and it's just, have you guys seen that? It's mind-blowing. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yep. It's so good.
I love it because you're right. Rick Rubin brought them back to like their pocket.
Yeah.
Like like the sweet spot that makes you guys you.
And they hadn't been there in a while, you know?
Yeah.
I love the James's weird vocal cadence on That Was Just Your Life, because he does some weird shit, but it works perfectly and it's hard to do. And he pulls it off. And I remember on that tour, that's what they would open with. They'd play the intro on tape and then they'd come out and just pummel you with the beginning chords of that song, you know? Unbelievable.
So badass.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Well, John, real quick, you got one that's an action figure at the gift shop. I love that. I love the way you said that.
Honestly, I don't, because I mean, Creeping Death would have been one. You guys kind of mentioned the ones that would have been my honorable mentions, so I don't have anything to add.
Right on.
Mine is this, and I again, it's kind of like Fade to Black. I feel like a scumbag that I didn't talk about this, so I will crowbar it in here at the end. And it's an instrumental from Master of Puppets, and it's Orion.
Oh my God, dude. I love that song. It's one of my favorites.
Here's how I associate it is that it's a long song and it's all music. And what I love about it is if I know I'm like just not right in the head, right? Like I got anxiety, I got the just work stress, whatever. I can drive around town and just play Orion and it'll calm my ass down. Because it's musically brilliant. I don't know. It's fascinating to me that these guys can put that together and lay it down, and it's so smooth. It's brilliantly done.
And that was Cliff. Cliff was the maestro behind that one, behind the original idea of that. That's how advanced he was than everyone else, you know. And God, that song is so good. They've just started playing that. Have you guys seen the M72 tour? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Lately, they've been playing that one, and they hadn't played that live in decades. Really,
wow,
yeah.
Wow.
It's just I don't know. There's something about it. Like you're like, how these guys are so trained. Like this is not luck that they're Metallica.
Yeah.
They're
right.
They're gifted individuals, man, and that song showcases that.
That song is beyond a song. It's like a vibe. It's like it's
a feeling.
It is. It's a feeling. Yeah. Man, it's such a good one.
It can walk you through your feelings.
Yeah. Wow.
I guess. Yeah. That's very cool.
I don't know. That's the thing, Remy. Like we're I don't know 75 episodes into this little venture we call this little side project of ours, this podcast.
Yeah.
And we've covered certain bands, like we did the Beatles with Chris Segla, and that's our mutual friend that kind of connected the dots here.
Love Chris, yeah.
And I knew eventually we had to get to Metallica, just like we already did Kiss, and it is tough to narrow it down to these kind of bands. Like one that I would like to do at some point with John. We haven't. This is just me saying it in live time with him. We have to do one of these for Ozzy too.
Sure.
Oh my God. Sure. Yes.
I mean, Ozzy is just such an icon.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of bands on the list that I've thought about too. Aerosmith would be fun. Van Halen would be fun.
It's so hard though. It's really, really difficult when you have catalogs of that breadth and size of those bands to whittle it down to 4, you know? I mean,
yeah, you feel odd leaving some off because you there's a little bit of like survivor guilt there.
True. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
But man, again, Remy, we can wrap this one up, and I just want to, on behalf of John and I, I know we started the podcast by kissing your ass a little bit, so I'll end it the same way. I really do just look up to you as the guy in the industry that has done it right, and even from afar, I've never worked with you directly, but I know enough to know the brilliance that you are behind a microphone.
Well, that blows me away, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You guys are pros beyond pros. I mean, Mark, John, thank you for having me on this. And this is actually, I wasn't going to say it. It's the first podcast I've ever done. And I did it with you guys. I've been asked, and this is and I was like, yes, I'll do
Are you
this.
serious? That's for real?
I swear to God. Yeah. Swear.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh my God.
Mainly because I'm really, my day is completely nuts every single day. And weekends I go a little nuts, and get away from this. But yeah, so I wanted to take some time to do this with you because Metallica is close to my heart and you guys are great at what you do. So
not too bad for a couple of dipshits who used to hang roller banner at events, right?
Hell yeah. I love it, man. Continued success.
You can hear Remy on Jack FM. Give it a shout.
Thanks so much for everything. It was a blast today. Cheers, guys.